Hey guys, how are you? Today I bring you a somewhat different video on space engineers, outside of roleplay. Today I come as myself, not as Aaron Stetman. Do you remember the short video I uploaded some time ago of the Battlecruiser firing? Today I bring you the continuation of it, but this time with a little more context so you understand what it is about, and why it appears on the Alive cover. Come check this out. So, first of all, why today? What's new? Well, today I finally finished the first prototype of the main weapons of this ship, and among other things, besides giving you a little context about what's happening, I wanted to show you how it works. And no, don't get excited too quickly. It's not this one behind me. Is this one? The turret is made up of a cluster of 42 high-caliber assault cannons, programmed together to fire in sequence, each with an assigned timer behind it, and a custom turret controller integrated into it. In this way, we can fire high-caliber bursts, as if it were a semi-automatic weapon, which has proven in tests to do a lot of damage, and quickly pierce very thick layers of heavy armor. So well, up to this point everything is very nice, very elegant and all that, but why do we make it so complicated? Wouldn't it be easier to fill the turret with high-rate automatic cannons and save timers? It would even give us the same aesthetics in the shots if we want to record. Or better yet, why not just place standard turrets all over the ship? Well, there are a couple of reasons for that. The first and most obvious reason is aesthetics. Behemoth-class battlecruisers based on this model carry a total of 16 laser turrets on the outside of their fuselage, really big turrets, and there's nothing of that scale in Space Engineers that I could use to match it in power and rate of fire. So naturally, I had to build them. Second, I know that these types of weapons are not used on multiplayer servers for obvious reasons. Look at that size. Even being vanilla, the turret alone has almost 5,000 blocks and 10,000 PCUs, which makes them practically unviable on public servers. However, Hyperion's purpose is not to be a simple CGI tool. If its weapons were damaged or completely destroyed, the piece is completely removable from inside the wing, so it can be replaced using a robot with a brand new one. And I plan to do each of its 16 turrets this way, thus optimizing the post-battle repair systems to the max. Although introducing this ship into true multiplayer is a pipe dream at the moment due to its large size and not so modest 350,000 PCU count, I will make sure to give it the power necessary to make it unrivaled, and effectively the second most powerful ship in the Alive universe. What do you say? Which one is the first? Well, you'll have to subscribe for that. But seriously, don't forget to subscribe. So, after much thought I've made the decision not to reveal too much about the Hyperion in this video beyond giving some context, though I was tempted to do so, but otherwise it would be a huge amount of spoilers for the series I'm creating, and I don't know about you, but I don't like spoilers at all. Still, leave me a comment if you'd like to know more about the ship before it makes its debut in the series, and if so I might reveal some details prematurely. What I will do in this video is give you a full demonstration of the power of these prototypes and how they'll perform once they're integrated into the ship, which I'm sure is what you came here for. So let's get down to business. The first test will be damage over time. We put a bunch of batteries behind a 5-layer shell of heavy armor on the front. Let's see how long it takes to pierce the armor layer and reach the batteries. This is something I've had a bit of a hard time determining in previous tests, as the game takes a bit of time to process damage and the impact is generated long after the shot has connected. But I'll try to get a bit more accurate timing this time around. Without further ado, let's get started. Between the second and third round we can assume that the batteries were hit, even though I fired 3 more rounds for the checks. It should be noted that the hits the batteries received were mostly by ricochets, something I realized after changing the angle of vision. But anyway, let's go with the next one. For the second test, I brought a heavy cruiser that I designed to play in survival mode. Yes, I design ships almost compulsively, so don't ask. It is made entirely of heavy block except for some areas of the internal structure, and most of its engines are protected. Let's see how long it takes the turret to disable the ship. The moment the tank exploded, the ship was unable to stay aloft, due to the loss of 2 of its main engines and the rupture of the conveyor lines. In space it would probably have taken a bit longer, but in gravity this would be the end of the fight for the Executor. Now, what would happen if the target was moving and at a greater distance? Here I must say that it was necessary to calibrate the turret appropriately to shoot at the propulsion. For some reason, I had the recurring problem at the beginning that the turrets fired directly at the front of the ship, as if there was a decoy there. But in front there is nothing, only the gravity generators and the drills. Once this was done, it was enough with a single hit to the engines and the ship was disabled again. Wasn't extremely rushed, but at least it did a considerable amount of damage when hitting. Okay, let's go with the results. In the first test, after the second round, we had already penetrated the armor layer and reached the batteries. But there are a couple of conditions. The first, as you can see here, after the round ended, the game was still processing the hits. I'm still not sure how that affects the result, but I don't think it will be positive. In practice, it takes at least 3 assault gun shots to destroy a heavy block. This turret has 42, if each shot connects efficiently, it should be able to pierce 7 heavy armor with a single round. This is because the guns are separated into 2 groups, but this doesn't happen, it barely manages to penetrate 4, and it is very likely due to this physics error. Nevertheless, it is still an excellent firepower, and I am very happy with the result. In the second test, I don't have much to say except that I faced the same problem over and over again. I really don't know if the game properly processes the impacts in the corresponding place even with the delay, or if the explosion really happens completely outside the target hit, which would be a total waste of firepower. But in the end, the results don't fluctuate too much, so I'm not really worried about it so far. Although I think the ship should have fallen much faster, to be honest. As for efficiency, which I know is something many of you are wondering. What if there were 42 autocannons instead of the assault ones? Well, I'll save you the trouble, I did the test myself. While in theory the assault ones should be much better, in practice, this is not exactly the case. Here I replaced the assault guns with autocannons. I didn't make any changes to the turret, I didn't even remove the timers, I just replaced the guns, and this is what we get. The autocannons match the assault one's time. They don't do that much damage, and of course they only damage the place they hit without much ricochet. But as far as damage over time goes, it's well known that autocannons have the advantage over most weapons. Still, they have a couple of buts. The first and most insignificant one is that the aesthetics go to hell, it looks more like a beam than a trail of bullets. It practically doesn't even look like this anymore. But I know that you won't care about that, you might even like it more. Second, you will only have effective damage if you concentrate the beam of shots in one place to pierce it, which at long range turns out to be quite difficult, even for the AI, while with assault cannons it only takes 1 or 2 shots to hit a single block to make a big hole in the ship, plus they bounce off and damage surrounding blocks, making it much more efficient in real combat in space. But, the biggest and most significant problem with these is the scale. We are talking about putting a weapon with a range of 800 meters on a ship that is 540 meters long. Literally, if you put the gun here, you can't shoot a target that's here. It's pretty absurd and a good enough reason to rule out these guns, not to mention the ammunition. Still, I think they could be viable for the 4th turret model I'm making and haven't finished yet, being weapons that go exclusively on the hammerhead of the ship, that is, on its front. I think they could be much more useful in that sense, and maybe in some short-range turrets under the neck. But no more than that. So, that's how things are so far. I didn't really want to prolong this video too much with many more demonstrations, since I interrupted the recordings of the series for a couple of days to do this briefing, and I want to continue with it as soon as possible. But you know how the algorithm works, if I don't give the channel some movement at least, it will die, and with what it's costing me to record these things it would be difficult to make the videos faster, so please if you like my content don't forget to like the video and subscribe. It's very unpleasant to record these things for 2 months to get 200 views and 15 likes. Oh, and before I forget, since the last video, a Discord server is already open for the community. It's not a big deal and it's still a bit empty, but if you have questions, content suggestions, or just want to chat a bit, I'm very active there. Anyway, this is the important thing to know for now. The Hyperion is a fundamental pillar in the series, and it's something I wanted to make clear since I haven't mentioned it expressly yet. It's not a clickbait or anything like that. I'll also allow myself to tell you that at the end of the first chapter, it will be when the main plot of the story will begin. For now I say goodbye, and I hope to see you in the next video. See you soon, my friends.